Okay, in this tutorial we're going to take another look at the rigid bodies in the new version of Blender 2.66. And in this case the only thing that's a rigid body is this object here. I have it set to active like I showed you in the other video right there, and then the plane is active as well. But now there is something different in this case. This is a cloth object and I want to project this essentially into the cloth. Alright, whereas in the previous videos you've seen they were the objects were falling with the effect of gravity and then they would bounce into the cloth or get deflected into the cloth. But in this case I want to direct it on my own. So what you can do is we'll go over here to the physics tab in here, right, and then down here under the rigid body area right here is animated. I have it checked. It was not checked in the previous thing. Alright, and so then when I check it like this, it prevents it from falling. Well, let's uncheck it just for a second and I'll show you what I mean. If I start this back at 0, let me see, and I run it, let's see, where is it? It's down. Oh no, it's back here. Hang on, it's back here out of the scene. So I run it, there it is, it falls down and acts like a rigid body like this. Or if I'm further up into the scene like I was a second ago, let me see, I need to go set this back to animated, and then where's my setting? Oh, I wonder if it took away. Now there it is, it's working. So now what happens is now it's looking at the keyframes that I have set. So what I have in here is, I'll go back to this keyframe. I have one behind, this is a light. This is one keyframe that's set back here, and then the next keyframe is set way up in here. So I'm basically moving it along the y-axis like that, and you can see it if I just move it back like that. So it's being controlled by the keyframes instead of by the rigid body during this point. But yet the reason I'm doing it is, so the reason I have it set as a rigid body is so it still has the characteristics of a rigid body, so it can collide with the cloth, or it could collide with other rigid bodies in the scene to make it work. So let's see what actually happens when we run the animation. I actually have a rendered version. I'll show you here in a second. So I'll get rid of this. So it won't take effect. It won't start moving till here. It just actually, you'll see it back here. It's running, and there it is there, and then you'll see it start moving. Oh, the cloth will have to come back down. It will. And now it's moving on the keyframes. I'll zoom in, and you can see there it does affect the cloth like that. So it's not a soft body like I've done in other tutorials. It's strictly a rigid body. There are no vertex groups set on that. It's strictly that one feature that I've added over here, making it add active. That's all that's required. How nice is that, huh? And so, and then the other thing you have to make sure, if you're going to make it interact with the cloth, you have to make sure your cloth object has a collision, is collision enabled, and your rigid body is collision enabled as well. Well, if I turn that off and run it through here, you'll see it starts moving, but when it gets there it'll just, oh actually I guess it does. Well, I'm surprised. Oh, maybe it won't. Let's see. It's coming through since it reset now. It should go through it. Oh, it goes through it anyway. Huh, well that's strange. Maybe you only have to have a collision on the object itself, but no, I need a collision set for both. Maybe it doesn't unset itself for some reason. Well, anyway, that gives you the idea, and you'll be able to do it. And here's the animation actually that I did a cycles rendering of it, so you can see it up close here. Alright, here it is. There goes the cloth coming up. That way I can tell it's working. Then it's going to come back down, and then it'll come in and hit it like that. Alright, well that's it for this lesson. See you in the next lesson.